Coming up next, our final news roundup and information overload hour.
All right, news roundup and information overload hour. Sean Hannity Show, toll free, numbers 800-941-SEAN. You want to be a part of the program. We'll get to your calls at the bottom of this half hour. Elijah Cummings, a congressman, accusing the Trump administration of setting up child internment camps. More Nazi comparisons than I think I've seen in one lifetime, and then started crying while talking about the topic.
And so I asked the question, and it is a simple question. Are we really going to sit here, 70 members of the Congress of the United States of America, in 2018, and have a hearing that just repeats the hearings the Senate had yesterday on Hillary Clinton's emails? We sent letter after letter after letter, asking these committees to investigate the Trump administration's policy, which is now resulting in child internment camps. That's what I said, child internment camps. But we have gotten no response. Look, even if you believe people entered our country illegally, even if you believe they have no valid asylum claims in their own country, even if you believe immigration should be halted entirely, we all should be able to agree that in the United States of America, we will not intentionally separate children from their parents. We will not do that. We are better than that. We are so much better. We should be able to agree that we will not keep kids in child internment camps indefinitely and hidden away from public view. What country is that?
All right, there are facts that actually go along with the emotion of this argument. The one thing you can conclude is the 2018 midterm elections are in full force. And over the many years we've done this program, we have chronicled how in election years it's predictable. The race card is going to be used. Republicans are racist. You know, 1998, Missouri, radio ad, if you elect Republicans, black churches are going to burn. Al Gore, Republicans, talking to a predominantly black audience, don't even want to count you in the census. They want to poison the air, poison the water, and kill more children. If they support a reduction of the rate of increase, in other words, a net increase of 7% for Medicare, they are trying to kill old people and granny. And this is what we hear every 4 years, that they're racist, that they're sexist, that they're homophobic, xenophobic, that they're Islamophobic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there are facts here that go along with this narrative that the media is not telling you. This is the law as it currently exists. In other words, well, yeah, you can have discretion. And remember, Barack Obama said he didn't of his own have the I can't with a wave of a pen, through executive orders do these things because it's unconstitutional. It's not the way our system works. He ended up doing it anyway. But the rule of law is the rule of law. And if you want to fix the issue permanently, there is a solution. And the president has put on the table a DACA fix as part of a comprehensive package that would include solving the problem forever as it relates to the southern border, and that's building a wall. But it is compliance and enforcement of the law. People may not like the enforcement of the law, but that's what it is. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to hear this fact either. If an American citizen breaks the law and is put into the justice system, they're separated from their family and children. And in that sense, what the left wants here is open borders. They want this as a campaign issue. If they wanted to solve the issue, it's been on the table now for a long time. And none of them want to come to the table and solve the issue because they don't want the wall built, period. They want open borders. And, as it relates to everything else, this is not the first time that this has happened. Yeah, it happened under Barack Obama. And yeah, families were separated. Illegal immigrant families were separated under him. And when they crossed over the borders, they were put in the criminal justice system. Families were indeed separated. So, that's the point. Anyway, joining us to discuss and debate all of this is Chris Farrell. He is the director of investigations for Judicial Watch. Francisco Hernandez, an immigration attorney based out of Texas. And by the way, he agrees with me that we should build the wall and fund the wall. And when you heard the president talk about being willing to make the DACA fix that you want, in exchange for building the wall, you said you'd take that deal in a heartbeat.
I told you I would, because we're going to have to legalize 100,000 Mexicans to build it. But why don't we have to wait for an agreement with the Democrats? Republicans have a majority, and the Republicans are afraid of a filibuster. Throw it up for a vote and let them figure it out.
It's not that they're afraid of the filibuster. It's that you know and I know that there are motivations. And Republicans, some of them have their motivations on these issues, too. You know, there are some appealing to corporate interests. Hang on. Some appealing to corporate interests that want inexpensive labor in this country. And then you have a group of Democrats. Well, they're looking at this selfishly also thinking, well, that could be the next potential voting base for our party.
But at least you have a count of who voted for it and against it. Put it up for a vote, and he doesn't even think he can carry his own party. But at least
that's not why it's happening at all. I mean, if you can't get it to a vote in the Senate, if you don't reach the magic number of 60, and Mitch McConnell refuses to give up on cloture.
But you don't need 60 to take it. Well, then let him filibuster.
But that's the point. Chris Farrell, what are your thoughts? Colors. Listen, here's the other point. Nobody wants children separated from their families. But the bottom line is nobody wants that. Francisco, you've known me forever. I don't believe in that. I don't want families separated, the kids separated from their parents. And it has happened and it has gone on because these guys won't do their job and put the permanent fix in place that literally legislatively, in other words, legally, solves the problem the way it should ultimately be solved. Chris.
And what is
this is the attention wrapped around this event is manufactured. We've had this problem for years. There's an entire facility outside of Yuma, Arizona, dedicated to nothing but families and unaccompanied minors who cross the border. This is not some new phenomenon. We've seen an uptick in the numbers, certainly, but you've also seen corresponding both encouragement from south of the border to make a run for it, basically, and get into the United States, but the word travels back just as fast, saying, hey, look, the Americans are doing enforcement. Knock it off. Don't come here unless you want to lose your kid, which leaves you with two questions. What responsible parent would put their child in that position to begin with? And then secondly, the large numbers of children that are appearing at the border who are either unaccompanied or accompanied by someone other than their parents, in which case you're getting into really trafficking children. There's the dirty underside of it that nobody wants to talk about. None of this is new. All the attention around this is a manufactured hysteria. It's a propaganda stunt.
No, it's for real. It is human trafficking. And there are criminal smuggling gangs that are at the root of all this. They're not going to
and
tell
it's
the
been
parents
going on
that they can
for
be
the better
separated
part
from
of
the
15
children.
years at a commercial level of trafficking. Suddenly, there's a desire to pay attention to it. Why wasn't this a screaming headline a month ago? It wasn't. It's a deliberate attempt to grab headline and attention for political purposes. The problem has gone on forever. There's a facility in Yuma, Arizona, in particular, that I've been to. This crisis has been percolating for the last 10 years, especially with respect to unaccompanied minors. But there's an effort to generate a crisis and use it as sort of a wedge or leverage issue. And so suddenly now everyone wants to pay attention to something that's been going on forever.
Oh, but come on. President Trump and the Attorney General jumped on it for the exact same motives, exact same reasons, all of a sudden enforcing the policy of criminal prosecution. Of course,
let me remind you of the infamous remarks of President Obama. Elections have consequences. And so if there's laws on the book, and we imagine this, we actually enforce the laws, that whole equal justice under the law motto on the top of the Supreme Court. So when you apply the law and follow the law, suddenly everyone gets all upset and excited. Instead,
there is a problem here, and Secretary
not to follow the law.
Secretary Nielsen pointed it out, the massive increase in the last 3 months that they've seen. Also, they've been able to observe large criminal organizations like MS-13 have gained a foothold. And if, in fact, you put in the exceptions or the loopholes or the discretion that everybody seems to want to put in the case of children, that ostensibly means you have a functionally open border. And this is all a result, and it all did happen in the Obama years, Francisco, so this isn't new.
I agree.
Which means this is all tainted by politics. But if we really care about the kids, the best thing that we could do for them is have the border wall up and make it have that functionally working with the door that the president talks about,
Well,
so people
because
come in legally.
It's not going to get built. Even if you could get it built starting today, you're not going to solve any crisis for at least 10 years, even if you think the wall will fix it. The problem is that what is causing these folks to flee their country, and that's the elephant in the room, Mr. Hannity. Nobody wants to talk about why these people are willing to risk their lives and lose their children. In fact, I bet most mothers would.
Well, why do you think that is?
Well, that's
their asylum claims are garbage in large part because that's already been documented by Secretary Nielsen yesterday. The asylum claims are largely fraudulent. These same people are also transiting Mexico, and Mexico does not pose a threat to them and their individual liberty or their rights. So what they should be doing is staying in Mexico, closer to their country of origin, instead of all making a dash for the border. Hopefully the message will get out, as it has before. You're not welcome unless you come here lawfully. So don't bother coming, or you're going to suffer the consequences.
Well, then change the asylum laws right now. Put the legislation right now. We all agree they're antiquated and they're impractical in its application. So we're just trying to put Scotch tape on the leak. It's not going to fix it.
No,
guys.
It's not Scotch tape. Listen, even you and I have agreed on a bill. I mean, the president offered DACA in exchange for the money, the financing to build the wall with a couple of other chain migration and merit-based migration.
Put it up for a vote.
Well, but here's the problem: your friends on the Democratic side of the aisle, they don't want a solution to this. They want to politicize this, and they want to use it as a wedge for 2018, which is what they're doing.
You can pass it in the House, and if you're afraid of the filibuster, then let the Democrats filibuster. Let them do it. Why are you afraid? It's a Republican majority. Put the proposal on the table and vote it up or down. At least we know where everybody stands. You got to stand.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
For anything.
I'm not disagreeing with you. We'll take a break. We'll come back more with Chris Farrell, Francisco Hernandez, 800-941-SEAN. Toll-free telephone number. You want to be a part of the program. Your call's coming up at the bottom of the hour. Now, when I needed a safe, I did my own research, and I found the best-built safe on the planet and the best company you'll ever deal with in terms of customer service. And I found Liberty Safe. I now have 7 of them. And they're the best in price, the best features. They have an amazing lifetime warranty. They have the amazing service offers. And they also have in-home delivery, which is going to make it very easy for you. And you have to protect your important papers, your valuables. And if you're a responsible gun owner, your firearms, go to libertysafe.com. And right now you'll get 12 months interest-free payments, 0 down, 0 APR, as low as $20 a month. Now, by the way, most people run out of space. You probably want to buy bigger when you buy a safe. I know in my case, I bought too small, and then too small, and then I got the one that I needed. And then I have my handgun safes, which keep my firearms protected. Anyway, 12 months interest-free, as low as $20 a month, approved credit. Just go to libertysafe.com, libertysafe.com. Everybody has something to be protected. libertysafe.com. Quick break. Right back. Your calls at the bottom of the half hour, straight ahead. All right, as we continue our debate over immigration, Francisco Hernandez is with us, immigration attorney based out of Texas. Chris Farrell is the director of investigations for Judicial Watch. We also have a systemic abuse of our asylum system. And, people come in and they say they're seeking asylum, and really all they want is entry into the United States. I'm not sure how you ever get to the bottom of all of that. I think the end of the day, it's really going to come down to America has to control its borders, Francisco. And once we control the borders, then those people that are in true need of asylum, those people that for the number of people that we can allow into the country, we will create a better process, certainly, for that. We should certainly expedite that process. Nobody wants families separated, but in many ways, we're not going to be able to do any of this until the wall's built.
The wall's not going to keep people from coming. We got to address the thing at the source. By the time these folks make it to the border, each one of them has already paid a smuggler about $10,000 each to come.
The exploitation is horrible.
There is no turning back. There is no turning back, and it is a criminal element. We know who's smuggling them. We know how Mexico treats illegal immigrants from El Salvador and Central America and Nicaragua, and they don't treat them well. What do they do, Chris? They throw them out of the country, or they put them in jail, including young people.
Guess what happens when you subsidize something? When you subsidize something, you get more of it. So if you're going to pour all sorts of blood, sweat, and tears, taxpayer dollars into keeping this loophole open and encouraging people to exploit children as border crossing bargaining chips, and that's what they're minimized and trivialized to by these criminal gangs. They use these children as a chip, as a way to get into the border. When you subsidize that and when you promote it, guess what you get more of? And so the idea that, we'll just be nice for now, is actually a really soft form of cruelty that further exploits children. You can't say, give them a break, knowing it's going to encourage more of it, and then it's simultaneously claim that you're trying to protect children and families. It doesn't work that way.
You are killing me softly. You don't like the asylum laws? Don't call them loopholes. Change the law. It's the law. But there's still judges and all.
This is political gamesmanship and double talk. The reality is that there are people trying to cross the border whose lives are in danger, and talking about a Capitol Hill process mired in money from the American Chamber of Commerce and from all sorts of other folks who want cheap labor. That's a political process that is separate and apart from the actual exploitation day by day of young children and families who use the kids as a chip, as a token.
So you're saying that these lobbyists, these private interests, have every Republican vote in their pocket or enough to kill any legislation? Is that what you're telling us? That all the Republicans in the pockets of these private lobbying interests?
They want, and we'll all figure out what happens in the end. I mean, this is...
And I have to end it there. Thank you both for being with us. Francisco Hernandez, Chris Farrell, 800-941-SEAN, a toll-free telephone number. When we come back, wide open phones, final half hour. As we continue on a Tuesday, we have an amazing Hannity tonight, 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel. I'll tell you about that in the next half hour.